This is Eric back with another video. It's a great day here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's Sunday, April 26th. The video today I want to talk about one of the most important things that any gardener can have, and that's your watering system. Now, whether your system is spraying with a water hose, soaker hoses, or drip irrigation, I think it's important to have some type of system so you can water your plants properly. Without water, they'll just die. Let's be real. So for my system, I wanted to look at it in a couple different ways. Is it gonna save me time? Is it gonna save me money? And is it gonna be, what my garden needs? And for me, drip irrigation does all of those. It saves me time. I don't have to sit out here with a water hose, just watering for 20, 30, 40 minutes a day, especially in the heat of the summer. It saves me money because I think drip irrigation is much more efficient. Then you add mulching on top of that and you cut your watering down significantly. It saves me physically because I don't have to go and pull a hose out and drag it from around the back of the house in order to get my plants watered. We're gonna take a look at my system today. Hopefully it helps you design something that works for you. This is how it works in the front yard garden. Now let me say this, by no means am I saying that this is the way to do it or that this is the drip system that you should use. There are plenty of drip systems out on the market. Drip emitters with drip lines. You have some that just have emitters. They have spray emitters. You have drip tape, but this is just showing you what I'm using. Now I look at watering systems kind of like the cardiovascular system. You have a heart, arteries, veins, and then you have sensors. First, we'll look at the heart of the system. Heart of the system, the timer. This is where all the water comes out of your house spigot and then travels out to the rest of your garden. I have a 2-zone system. First zone goes to the front of the house, which has the 4x2 and all of the grow bags. And then zone 2, it goes out to the 8x3 bed. Most drip irrigation systems require some type of pressure regulator because the pressure of the water coming out of your faucet is normally too high for the rest of the system. We gotta have a pressure regulator. Typically most systems have a pressure regulator of 25 PSI, that's pound per square inch. So I have pressure regulators on both sides. Then next is just a simple filter here. You can get some Y filters. A regular filter will be fine. This is the heart of your system. Now your tubing is like the veins and arteries of your system. You have the 1/2 inch up to 1 inch supply line, which I guess would be like big arteries. And you have your 1/4 inch distribution line and drip line, which would be like the veins. Let me show you what that looks like. Drip irrigation systems are gonna come with 3 types of tubing. A supply line, which normally comes in about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. You'll have a distribution line. These are both solid hoses, so there are no holes or drip emitters anywhere in them. That leaves the drip line. Now the emitter is just a little piece of plastic on the inside of the tube that regulates the flow of water. So typically they come in 1/2 gallon per hour emitters. So every hour it puts out a 1/2 gallon each emitter. So if you got 2 emitters, that's 1 gallon an hour. And they come in spacing of 6 inches, 9 inches, and 12 inches. This brown here is 6 inches, and this black one here is 9 inches. So you see the emitter there, and 9 inches away you get another emitter. Here it's 6 inches, so 6 inches from that one to this next one is 6 inches. From a tubing standpoint, that makes up the majority of your system. You have 1/2 inch tubing that runs all the way down the side of my house. Just to give you an idea how far it runs. And then that comes out to the 8x3, and then the other one turns a corner here and goes all the way down there for the rest of the grow bags. One thing to keep in mind when you use tubing to run long lengths like I just showed you. You have to do that with 1/2 inch up to 1 inch supply line. You don't want to use 1/4 inch distribution tubing to run at any length over maybe 5 feet. And even that's a little bit too long. I try to keep it within a couple feet just to be on the safe side. I had to pull some weeds so you can see the actual tubing here. I did get a little crazy with my connections at this end, but for the most part, this 1/2 inch tubing comes all the way to the 8x3 bed, and then it comes up with 1/4 inch tubing. So once it got to the drip line up here, I ran it off 4 long drip lines. This drip line travels the length of the bed all the way down to the end, and I try to end it near a emitter so we get water all the way down to the end. I try to plant along the drip line to make sure everything gets evenly watered. I'll show you the 4x2 in the grow bags next. All right, before we get to the grow bags, right here is one of the outputs that I ran off of the 1/2 inch supply line. This line comes all the way up, and then I poked it in the side of the fabric grow bag, and then I have it snaking through the bed. So it starts on that end, and then it ends over here, and there's the end. And I found those little 4 splitters there. That way I can run 4 off of one junction up to 4 different pots. You can also use the tool that comes with the system. It's a hole punch, and you can just punch a hole into the 1/2 inch supply line and run a tube straight off of that. And then you run that distribution tube all the way up to the plant. I made a little customized ring, and I'll show you a better picture as I'm talking here. So I made one that has a inner ring. So that's the inner ring for when it's small, and then it also has an outer ring. So when it gets big, and to help water the basils that's on the outside of each pot. So that's just a little design I made up. You can actually just take one and just wrap it around the plant and just use some stakes to stake it down. That'll be fine. I just thought the rings were cool, and that way I can just use them each year. Just plop those rings down and be good to go. All systems, you have to cap them. So there's a way that you can do it different from this. I think this one is a little bit more secure. I just like the idea of the cap that you can put on the end. They do make one where you can fold it over, use like a little loop and crimp the edges. Because the pressure is so low on the end, even just folding it over and holding it down would be enough to stop the system from leaking. Last but not least, you have the receptors or sensors, and that is the drip moisture sensors. Now these sensors provide 3 pieces of information. It provides lumens for how bright or how much sun this bed is getting if it's not blocked by plants. It obviously provides the soil moisture in percentages, and it provides ambient temperature. It does give a pretty good reading of the temperature right at the base of the plants. Those soil moisture sensors talk to the timer, and I'll show you that in the next portion, which is the brain. This is the home page for the app that I use for my watering system. This home page gives you all the information you need at a glance. It gives you current temperature, weather, and it lists all the devices. We have 3 sensors. I have one for the 8x2, one by the 4x2, and one for the grow bags. And there's one timer, but it's broken off into zones. So let's take a look at the 8x3. The 8x3 right now is showing 58% moisture, 84.5 degrees for ambient temperature, and for sunlight or luminance, it's 4150. Let's take a look at the timers. Each timer will show its current state. See, it shows the front of the house there. It's zone 1. Click on zone 2. Shows you that it is currently watering. Cycle and soak is basically it will cycle on for a certain amount of minutes, and then it will soak. You can also do manual I don't know if it'll let me do it now because it is currently watering. If we go over to the zone 1, you can do a manual water mode where you could do normal irrigation, cycle and soak, and a misting irrigation for misters. You also have the ability to go in and look at your events. So it'll tell you the last time the system came on, how long it came on for, and what was the end time and the total duration. If you want, you can go in, you can do rain delays or seasonal adjustments. One of my favorite features of this application is the smart features. And you can set these up to kind of answer a if then type of situation. So if the water or moisture is above 65%, then the front of the house will turn off. So it will read that sensor in the grow bag. If it gets above 65, it'll automatically turn the system off. You can also set them to do the opposite. So if it drops below a particular moisture percentage, you can set the timer to come on. In this instance, if it falls below 52%, I have the timer comes on with a cycle and soak for 30 minutes. You can also have it send you notifications to your phone. If the 4x2 gets below a certain moisture percentage, you can have it send you a text to say low moisture. The same as high moisture. If it gets over a certain amount, you can send you a text. This is by far one of the best features for this particular system. This really makes your system automatic. You set it, you can kind of forget it. You don't want to forget it, but you know what I mean. This is the first drip irrigation system that I bought. This one was specifically made for raised beds. It comes with everything that you need, all the connectors, all the hoses, all the tubings. It doesn't come with one type of tubing, and that's the distribution tube. But for the most part, it's a pretty good system. It helped me understand drip a little bit. Something like this, I think this was about $49.99, not bad. This does not include the timer, but it's still a good system. I hope that helped someone out there. Maybe encourage you to dive into the world of drip irrigation. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the front yard. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.